Is the 12th century. Likely around 1162, Temujin was born. Temujin, the future Genghis Khan, came from a clan that had a tradition of power and rule. He was the great-grandson of Kabul Khan, who had been one of the greatest ruler of all the Mongols, and who successfully repelled the invasions of Jin dynasty of China. Little is known about Genghis Khan's early life due to the lack of written records. The Secret History of the Mongols, which is the oldest surviving literary work in the Mongolian language, reports that Temujin was born grasping a blood clot in his fist, a traditional sign showing that he was destined to become a great leader. But this could be just a legend. The Mongol tribes weren't very organized. In the early 12th century, the Central Asian Plateau north of China was divided into several tribes, and all were prominent and often unfriendly toward each other. The region was marked by random raids, attacks, and small conflicts. The Tatars lived on the fertile lands around the lakes Hulun and Buyid, and occupied a trade route to China, and they experienced pressure from the Jin dynasty and were urged to fight against other Mongol tribes. The Karatis were located between the mountain ranges of Changai and Khenti. The Merjid was located in the basin of a river. Lastly, the Naiman Confederacy was situated between the mountain ranges of Altai and Changai. Something interesting is that some people on these lands were members of the Church of the East. Christianity was therefore a major influence in the Mongol tribes and in the future Mongol Empire. Genghis Khan was a shamanist, but his sons took Christian wives from the powerful Karait clan. The most powerful Mongol leader at the time was Kurtait, and he was given the Chinese title Wang, which means king. Temujin went to war with Wang Khan. Then he enlarged his Mongol state. The term Mongol came to be used to refer to all Mongolic-speaking tribes under the control of Genghis Khan. Also, the ruler created a system of laws for the Mongols, and he called this Yasa, which means formation. The Yasa provided necessary powers for taxation and for all able-bodied Mongols to take part in the great hunt to gather meat for the winter months. Genghis Khan, with the help of his allies, managed to defeat the Merkit tribe and went to defeat the Naimans and Tatars. After his accomplishments, he gained the Khan title, which was the title given to rulers and officially in Central Asia. However, Genghis Khan made a very controversial decision and created laws in which he forbade looting of his enemies without permission. He implemented a policy of sharing spoils with his warriors and their families instead of giving all to the aristocrats. These new policies brought him into conflict with his uncles, who were also legitimate heirs to the throne. They regarded Temujin not as a leader, but merely an usurper. This controversy spread around, and some Mongols who had previously been allies with him broke their alliance and declared war on him. During these wars, Genghis and his people still loyal to him prevailed, destroying all the remaining rival tribes from 1203 to 1205 and bringing them under his rule. 1206 was the year when he assumed the title of Genghis Khan, universal leader, marking the start of the Mongol Empire. As a ruler over a vast network of tribal groups, Genghis Khan innovated the way he ruled, and he gained power as he expanded his holdings. This unprecedented innovation encouraged a relatively peaceful reign and helped to develop stability and trading routes, marking his rule as one of the most successful political entities of the era. He created stability and tried to move from a tribal despotic administration to a more organized structure to build the base for the future expansion that will follow. Genghis Khan introduced many innovative ways of organizing his army. For example, he divided his army in subsections of 10, 100, 1000, and 10,000. In his campaigns, Genghis rewarded those who had been loyal to him and placed them in high positions as heads of army units and households, even though many of them came from very low-ranking clans. So it wasn't about the aristocratic people or the nobles, but he embraced more the idea of rewarding ordinary people and put them in high positions only if they deserved that. He forbade the theft, fighting among the Mongols, and the hunting of animals during the breeding season. In addition to this society and to this new empire, Genghis also decreed religious freedom and supported domestic and international trade. He exempted the poor and the clergy from taxation. He also encouraged education. However, Genghis Khan forbade some Islamic practices like butchering, for example. Despite his many successful political and social changes, Genghis was also a destructive and intimidating leader. He initially forged the Mongol Empire in Central Asia with the unification of the Mongol and Turkic confederations of the Mongolian Plateau in 1206. Then, Mongol forces invaded westward into Asia. The Mongolian army was composed more of cavalry. This was an advantage due to their fast deployment and travel, and due to this, being able to cover large parts of land. Some soldiers were sent in the front of the army to check if there are any hostilities or if there is grass for the horses or fresh water. The Mongols were steppe people, and they were very familiar with harsh conditions, with riding, hunting and surviving. It's believed that they could have traveled for days, having small provisions, and they could have been able to eat uncooked meat. Even if the majority of those civilizations of that time had their troops organized in formations, the Mongols used to spread and to cover much land as possible, looking for resources. In battles, one of the strategies was to spread when the enemy was seen and to encircle him while running with horses, leaving just an open area for him to escape, and when the enemy wanted to, he was cut down. Also, being so focused on horse riding, when there was trouble, the retreat and reorganization was faster. Genghis Khan first planned for war with Western Xia, believing that the powerful ruler of Jin dynasty would not come to the Western Xia's aid. His very first attempt to gain power started in 1205, the year before he was named supreme ruler on Mongol lands. Despite initial difficulties in capturing these well-defended cities, Genghis Khan forced their surrender with multiple siege battles in 1209 and 1210. The tactics and military might Genghis used continued as he went on to conquer the larger and more powerful Jin dynasty. The Mongols massacred thousands of Jin troops. Genghis Khan captured and sacked Zhongdu, modern-day Beijing, conquering the northern half of the Jin kingdom. More to the west, Karakitan Khanate was under the rule of Prince Kugluk, who had converted to Buddhism and had been persecuting the Muslim majority among the Khitan. The Karakitai attracted Genghis Khan's attention when they besieged Al-Malik, a city belonging to the vassals of the Mongol Empire. Genghis dispatched an army who, under the command of General Yebe, defeated the Karakitai at their capital, Balasagun, and their prince fled but was later killed in 1218. With his death, the Mongol Empire secured control over these lands and surrounding areas, having a strong foothold in Central Asia. In the early 13th century, the Khwarezmian Empire was governed by Shah al-Adin Muhammad. Genghis Khan saw the potential advantage in Khwarezmia as a commercial trading partner, and he sent a caravan to establish official trade ties with his empire. A Khwarezmian governor attacked the caravan, killing the man, claiming that it contained spies. Genghis Khan sent a second group of ambassadors to meet the Shah himself. The Shah had all the men shaved and the Muslim ambassador beheaded and sent his head back with the two remaining ambassadors. Upon hearing of this atrocity, outraged, Genghis Khan organized one of his largest and most brutal invasion campaigns. What happened next earned the Mongols a reputation for ferocity and mass killing that will mark their history for centuries to come. The Mongol tactics were precise and often brutally efficient. The attack on the capital, Samarkand, was decisive. Generally speaking, Mongol forces would enslave populations after a victorious capture of a city or region, establishing a new rule of law. After their victory, Genghis Khan ordered to his forces to completely destroy the remains of this empire. In 1227, Genghis Khan died. By the time of his death, the Mongol Empire ruled from the Caspian Sea to the Pacific Ocean. The Mongols will expand further in the time of Ogedei Khan, but about this topic and about their collapse, we will discuss in the next video.